Hi folks, and welcome to part 2 of our little discussion on laying the field. If you haven't seen part 1, perhaps you could go back and review that first of all before watching this. In part 1 I simply introduced you to the concept of laying the field, showed you how to create that manually using the settings within Fairbot, and then we transferred that to an automated strategy that we set up and could apply to a number of races at the same time. And in all of those examples we laid the field at short odds of 1.5, and in the races that we saw we had some losers, we had some winners. So what I want to do in this particular episode is discuss what happens if we laid the field at higher odds. Does that allow us to get more runners being matched and therefore reduce the overall liability? The risk is still the same, of course. If only one runner that ever gets matched, we'll lose the whole stake. But first of all, to set that up, let me just quickly modify the demo strategy I have, and all I need to do is to edit the odds from 1.5 to, let's just go with 2.5 and choose OK and save that. And now we need to apply that to some races. So I've already populated the watch list with a few races. The first race coming up in 1.5 minutes. Select all, let's assign that demo LTF to those. Okay, so you can see from here we've got some long races, sprints, medium race. So let's see how we go on. Okay, so all our runners will be laid just after the off at odds of 2.5. Now as you increase the odds and you're laying the field, there will be some races where the favourite, for example, will be below those odds you've specified, in our case 2.5. When that Dutch is placed, that runner that's sitting below 2.5, it will be laid at those lower odds, and so the potential loss on that particular runner will be lessened. You still need your other runners to come through and be matched at 2.5 in order to make the profit. So once again, I'll skip ahead to the business end of the race where the odds are likely to be taken. Okay, I've come in early to this race because some of the odds are actually quite close to our requested odds of 2.5. So hopefully some of these runners will actually get matched relatively early. But yes, so we've got a 3.5 minutes to go on this particular race. So keep in mind, odds of 2.5, to make a profit we need 3 runners to be matched at 2.5. Yeah, it's typical having come in early expecting something to be matched. Everything's drifted. So we'll just hang on. As usual, as I said earlier, the lay the field strategy, it tends not to get interesting until towards the end, the business end of the race, when everything's shortening in price. At the end of the last video, I posed a question: did you notice anything significant during those races? I want you to do the same during this video. Keep an eye out on the 4 or 5 races we're going to have a look at this afternoon in this video, and see if you can see anything significant that you could capitalize on. I won't give it away just yet. Now I don't have the radio on and I don't have any pictures, so but I'm guessing from the odds that the field is fairly well bunched at the moment. The odds haven't really been changing that drastically, so things should start to heat up fairly shortly. But keep in mind we need 3 runners to make a profit. After this race we'll quickly jump to the Southall race because that's about to start in a minute. So I would imagine that will go off fairly quickly after this one's finished. Right, so there's our first one matched, and you'll see we have a liability of £100 on that runner. So we need another 2 to come in to 2.5 in order to make a profit. But if we only get one other coming in to 2.5, that £100 liability should be reduced. So the second favourite there, Lucky Flight, is desperately trying, and then it comes. So there's our maximum liability now is down to £33. But we'll still, if we don't get another one matched, we'll end up with a loss. But at least it's not £100. And that's one of the reasons why you might want to try and do this at higher odds, because generally speaking you have a greater chance of more runners meeting those odds. There's still a risk, of course, involved if you don't get the right number of runners matched. Right, let's quickly nip to the next race because that's about to go off. Right, it's an odds-on favourite. So this strategy, because we're asking at 2.5, whenever the odds are placed into the market, that first one, Watermelon Sugar, will be matched at 1.6 or thereabouts, whatever it is when it goes in running. So it shouldn't be too long because they're loading at the moment. It's like watching a kettle boil. Come on, hurry up. So in this video I'm simply going to concentrate on looking at higher odds. In future video we'll look at how to mitigate our liabilities still further, and that'll be in episode 3, which again won't be uploaded until towards the end of this week, once I actually get around to doing it. Normally I would just skip on to the business end, but because we've got this odds on favourite, I just want to make sure that it's going to get matched quickly, and I'll let you see it getting matched quickly. It shouldn't be too long now. It's not as if they've got lots of runners to load up. As I mentioned in the first video, the general thoughts is that a race like this you wouldn't normally do it. It doesn't look particularly competitive, given that we've got a wild outsider there and an odds-on favourite. So this is probably something that you wouldn't want to get involved in necessarily, but for the purposes of demonstration it's worthwhile doing. The benefit, of course, is that with the delay going in, which will be taken at much lower odds than we're asking for, the liability on watermelon sugar will not be our full 100, because this thing here is looking to place a liability of 100 at 2.5. So of course it calculates the stake based on that. So that lay that's going in, it's not based on a liability of 100 at 1.6. It will be based on 2.5. So actual fact, our liability, because the odds that are taken are much lower, it won't be as much as that. So there you see, that's it gone in, and it's only £26 for that liability. So hopefully we should see something else coming in a little bit. But it is a novice stakes race with a short price favourite, so they usually hold their own for much of the race. So this one may not be that successful. Yeah, it doesn't look like it the way that it's coming in. Yeah, and that's fairly typical of a novice race, to be perfectly honest, as I'm sure you're all aware. Yeah, as I said earlier, this type of race is probably not one that you would use as strategy on. Okay, let's flip to the next one. Okay, we've got 2.5 minutes or so to come for that, and it's a 3-mile race, so I'll skip ahead until the business ends, so I'll be back shortly. Okay, we're past halfway in this 3-mile race at first last now, and you'll see that there's 3 runners in particular that are in contention with each other. We're still looking for our first to be taken at 2.5, but ideally we would like all 3 of those runners to get below 2.5 for us to see a profit. Doesn't look like anything else is going to come in, possibly the 4th one, Genie there. But the other 3 look as if they're probably out of it. And having said that, just watch one come streaming home. So it looks a fairly, again, I've not got the pictures with me today, but it certainly looks a fairly competitive race at the moment, judging by the odds fluctuations in the market. So Genie nearly got matched there, didn't quite reach the odds. Right, so there's the first one in. So we're now looking at £100 liability. We certainly need another one to come in to minimise that, but ideally we want another 2 to come in. So we've got the first one on the list there coming in. So that's reduced our liability to £35, but it doesn't look promising for any of the others. Yeah. No, it doesn't look like Genie's going to manage. So again, we're looking at a loss on that one. So you see this delay the field strategy, as I say, is a common strategy, but you can't apply it to every single race. You know, these examples I'm showing, you know, I'm just literally picking the next races that are coming along with no thought to the type of race, the length of the race, the number of runners, and so on and so forth, just to let you see the type of thing you need to look out for. So you have to do a lot of work beforehand to make sure that you use this strategy on the most suitable races, and certainly not all races, not by a long shot, are suitable for this particular one. So we have a sort of a mid-length race in this one. We've got an odds-on favourite, so that's likely to be taken whenever the bet is placed, just after the off. And the second one on the list has a good chance of being matched fairly early on as well. The other two are likely to be not involved. So this, on the face of it, is not a good race to do this in, especially since we need 3 runners to be matched and there's only 4 runners in the field. But again, for the purposes of illustration, it's worthwhile going through it. So again, I shall skip ahead to the business end. Well, whilst I was off there, there's been a withdrawal, so there's absolutely no point in doing this race. Typical. So we'll skip ahead to the next one. And again, it's a small field, so this isn't necessarily one that you would want to do, but for the purposes of this exercise, let's just watch it. So I'll skip ahead. Okay, you can see that the favourite has actually been matched already just before halfway round. So we need another couple of runners to come in. But in a 5-runner field, that's likely to be difficult to see. Now, as that's busy running through, I'll have a quick look at our results so far. So you see we've scrapped that one because there was a withdrawal. And you can see that our results, we've had two matched in these ones, which has limited the liability, but we don't see a profit. And this one was matched at lower odds because it was an odds-on favourite right at the off, and it was the only one that was matched. So you can see from here that irrespective of the odds that you take, there's still a big risk that you actually won't make a profit using the lay the field strategy, which is why you have to be very selective in using it. And so far in the example races today, there's actually been very few that would be natural selections for the strategy. There's been small fields. Most of the races have been pretty long, and there's been a few races where the favourite has been odds on or pretty close to being odds on, and so the racing hasn't been particularly competitive. But let's see how this one pans out. We're nearing the end now. So there's another one just about getting matched. Yeah, so it was only nibbled at. It needs a little bit more to be matched. And so we've already got the two outsiders there. They've fallen away completely. So it doesn't look like we're going to get much of a saving in terms of reduction in our liability. Owl Rock hasn't been fully matched. So both of these need to come down and get matched at 2.5 for a profit to be had. Right, so there's one in, and that's good. That's both of them matched, so we are guaranteed a profit now. Okay, so we're guaranteed a profit of £32. So there's an example of where you have higher odds, in this case 2.5, you need many more runners to be matched. So we need 3 runners to be matched to make a profit, which we've successfully achieved in this particular case. Okay, so we'll end up with it's an £87 loss, and we're going to make what, £30 give or take. So a £50 loss over those 4 races. Okay, so I'm going to draw this video to a close because we're running nearly 20 minutes now, which is much longer than I intended. In the next episode, I'll talk about a way to mitigate your liability still further by using multiple lays. But more on that later. In the meantime, take care. See you later.